All right, this is the follow up, and we are following up today on a live video I did on George's Bass Chat last year in 2020, entitled The Best Seat in the House Playing Bass Behind Singers. My guest today on the follow up is none other but the mighty Mike Harvey, all the way in Chicago. Mike, thank you so much for making yourself available and welcome to the follow up.
Thank you, George. Thanks for asking me. Like I'm
Oh,
honored to be in this illustrious set of people that you're interviewing.
oh man, the illustrious setting of my beautiful chaos.
Well, you see, I'm in my kitchen, in my
No,
tiny kitchen. It's all good.
hey, it is all good. So excellent. But here we are. I should probably give everyone who's listening, everybody who's watching, a little bit of a background of Mike and mine history. Now, Mike Harvey is a great singer who I met here in New York while he was working as a studio singer. And he has the distinguished honor of being, and I have the distinguished honor of Mike being my oldest friend in New York City. Uh, and also, he happens to be one of the best singers that I know, that I have ever met, and that I have worked with. So I thought it would be really interesting to hear his perspective on uh, what I entitled "Playing Bass Behind Singers," the best seat in the house. Let's turn that around. What does it look like? What does it feel like to be the singer in that scenario and have bass players back you up? So, Mike, why don't you give us a little bit of a summary of some of the bass players that you have worked with, because I think that would be really interesting for the audience to get context and get some sort of perspective of where you're coming from.
Sure. Yeah, I've had the unique opportunity of working with a bunch of different musicians. I always wanted to work with Marcus Miller.
Mm,
I didn't get that opportunity, but I did get to work with people like Nathan East. That
right.
was one of my first high profile gigs. He was the bass player in this house band. They called it the world's most expensive house band because it was
Wow.
literally Vinny Colaiuta, Nathan East, the Jerry Hayhorns, Paulinho de Costa. I'm
Yeah.
totally butchering his name. You know, names that I've seen on records that since I was a teenager,
Right.
seeing all these names. And then I've also gotten a chance to sing with Will Lee.
Right.
Will Lee played bass, and we've been on gigs and stuff together. Wayne Pedswater,
Oh yeah.
who passed away,
Yeah.
got a chance to play on some of my original stuff before he passed, and he was such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he was a big session guy when we first met. And Jerry Barnes, of
Oof,
course,
of course.
we've done lots and lots of gigs together with his sister.
Oh yeah.
May she rest in peace,
Oh yeah.
Catrice
The
Barnes.
late great Catrice Barnes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And who else? There's
Well,
other
you
people.
had Malcolm Gold in your band,
I had Malcolm Gold
right?
in the band. Yeah, yeah.
And
He was
then I
probably
think
my
when
most
you were,
consistent.
say
Uh,
again.
he was probably the most consistent
Correct.
person that I used whenever I did my own original stuff.
Right. Right.
He didn't play on any recordings except for a song I wrote called Jettison, where it's just all him, where he
Okay.
doubled, and it's almost like him playing guitar.
Oh
He
wow.
uses bass to play that, and that's gorgeous.
Mm.
What the work that he did on that was gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah. And then I saw you when you were touring with Seal, and
Yes.
that band had Tony Levin and Brian Blade in the rhythm
Brian Blade.
section,
But
right?
it's interesting, it was that Seal experience was a few things. There was the
Mm.
promo band, and then there was the touring band.
Oh
So the
wow.
promo band, I got to hear, and this is a good comparison.
Mm.
Armand Sabaleko. Armand Sabaleko
Okay.
was the bass player for that,
Okay.
and Earl Harvin
Mm.
was the drummer,
Mm.
and that was mostly for the promo stuff. Because maybe I don't know if Tony couldn't. I don't know the circumstance,
Right.
but I got to hear two different bass players play the
Playing the
same
same
stuff,
material.
and it was different. It was
Wow.
definitely a different vibe and a different feel.
Check that
Uh,
out.
and I actually preferred Armand's,
Mm.
like the vibe of when it was Armand. It just seemed all of the complicated music that Steele did
Mm-hmm.
was I don't know. It just had this just different,
Mm.
harder feel, where you just could feel it. I could feel it more.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
No,
mean,
no, I get it.
it's all subjective. I mean, and Tony, amazing, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
It was just a different feel. I just preferred Armand's
yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah,
over
yeah, yeah.
Tony.
No, awesome. So all of this is that's really really good stuff because I wanted the audience to know, that here's this is your background. Like this, these are the players that you have worked with, and I thought it would be interesting since like I really respect that. I should let the audience know like when I moved to New York and met Mike and we were hanging out. Mike Harvey's ear is so good that we were listening to some recording, and out of the blue, you start talking about, oh, they doubled the background vocals. That is all one singer, and I had no idea, and I was like, God damn, I need to. I don't hear anything. My ears are like, I don't hear this
You do
stuff.
now, though. You
I
do
do
now.
hear it.
You just didn't probably think in that perspective then.
That's
Like,
true.
you know,
That's true. But the example that you set back then started my quest for really, and I have decent ears. I don't have bad ears, not by a long shot. I got decent ears, but
that's an
it
understatement,
I
dude.
was like, okay, well, now I need to go deep, right? So I wanted the audience just to know that, okay, this is the background, this is where we're coming from, this is the context of what you have experienced as a singer, right? And maybe you could share your takeaways from that in terms of, okay, this is what it felt like to sing in front of all of these bass players. This is what I really dug. This is where perhaps what I didn't, you know, where I think there could have been changes made or whatever. How deep you want to go.
Hmm. Okay. Who played? This is terrible. I should know this.
Mm.
Who plays on particularly the Steely Dan stuff? Um,
Mm,
I can't think of his name.
the album that you recorded was Tom Barney.
That's yeah. Tom Barney's another guy that
Yeah,
to work with
yeah.
a bit. Yeah, yeah. So how far do we want to take this?
Go as far as you want to go. It like, what are your takeaways? Like, what is the stuff that you listen to when you are in a situation with those kind of players or with any kind of player, and what do you think, like, what puts them in a different category than another player?
Well, two people that I always would, if I did my originals, three people, because you were actually
Oh yeah.
one of those persons. I look for versatility,
Mm,
and uh, uh, what kind of language do they speak in the song?
right,
It's one thing to just hold down the low notes or to
right,
hold down the low notes in the rhythm.
right,
That's basic.
right.
That's basic stuff, and there are plenty of bass players that do that.
Yeah.
But people like Will and Jerry, they have very distinct voices.
Mm,
Will particularly, I love playing with him because he's a creative guy.
right.
He's not just the roots guy. Like he'll come up with something that you just go, wow, this is making this song like a thousand times better.
Mm,
Like it lacks like if you took his bass playing off and then you have another bass player try and play the same thing, and it's like, man, something's missing. Like
mm. Check that out.
he leaves this mark that it's like I absolutely need this part on there
Right,
because somehow his mind works where he could fit stuff in without being so busy.
right,
And it'll be melodic and cool, and
right.
and you want to sing to
Yeah,
that vibe, and and if a groove is happening, or if a ballad is happening, just the notes that you choose or the harmonics of that you do in a song, that also inspires,
yeah.
and he Will always comes from not only a rhythmic creative place, but also a harmonic
That's
creative
interesting.
place.
Yeah.
And I like harmonies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
I know.
that's probably one of the main things that I look for, that I like. What I like about Jerry is a groove meister. Like,
Yeah.
like a busy player. I mean, back in the day, he was
Right.
a busy player, but I'm sure, playing with now all these years, like he's gotten into like a whole
A
thing.
whole Zen thing of busyness and keeping it there and making
Right.
space at the same time. Yeah.
Right. But like I would always call him if I wasn't quite sure of, like, I knew what the groove was, but like I need something funky on
Right.
this, and he will certainly slap that bass
Yeah.
and be a funk meister on that.
Oh yeah.
Malcolm um, is great at. I think his tone is cool,
Hmm.
and he'll listen to a recording and will emulate that.
Right.
Not just copy it, but he'll add his own personality to it.
Yeah.
But you will almost have the impression that, wow, okay, Will did the recording,
Right.
but you're playing like stuff that, the way that he did it.
Yeah.
Even though he probably wouldn't have come up with that,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
No. I.
he's just a different guy,
Yeah.
different bass player. But definitely Armand on that Seal thing.
Mm.
Like that's a direct comparison because it's the same exact repertoire, and so and we have mixes that we can mix everything,
Mm.
like a separate mix. Oh, I need more bass,
Yeah.
and I remember, like, Armand having him and the keyboard and the guitar
Yeah.
like pretty far up,
Yeah.
so that I could just do my background stuff,
Which were, I mean, super sophisticated backgrounds, by the way. I mean, this that I do remember from that one concert. That was not an easy gig from what I know. I mean,
It
those were
wasn't.
just you know totally sophisticated, close backgrounds, and you guys nailed them like every time.
And that was hard because it's only two people singing background,
Exactly.
and Seal multi-tracks himself.
Yeah.
So it's more than two vocals. It's
Yeah.
like six things going on. So you have to pick the most essential thing that
Right.
would probably represent
Yeah.
the song itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that was very challenging.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that
but
is that the thing that. Sorry if I jump in, but the thing that
yeah,
you
no,
said about
please.
Armand is there is. I keep going back to because I'm a big fan of Bakiti Gumalo, the bass player with Paul Simon, the Graceland album, and Spirit of the Saints. I'm probably butchering the name of that album, but
That's all good.
yeah. And there is a great live recording, Central Park live recording of Paul Simon with Armand Sabal playing bass, and he is interpreting the bass lines from Bakiti Kumalo, right? So Armand Sabal is from Cameroon and Bakiti
Yes.
Kumalo is from South Africa. So you have this Cameroonian bass player playing South African bass lines the way he hears them.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Mind blowing.
Mm.
It's
It was
really,
different, right?
oh, totally,
Same,
totally.
same song,
Same
different
song.
vibe.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally,
yeah.
totally. Like it's really deep. It is really deep. So I can attest to what you said about his playing and
There
just
must be something in the water in Cameroon because
there.
isn't Richard Bona from
Yeah,
there too? And
Richard Boner. I
he's
think
one of
it.
the
Yeah,
first live local. He was
yeah,
local at that time.
yeah,
He wasn't famous yet.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I saw him play and sing,
yeah,
and I was just like, damn, and then I inquired where he was from, and they said Cameroon. So when I got to work with Armand, it's
yeah.
like, what's up with the Cameroon vibe? Like musicians, like it must be something in the water or something.
No, there's a bunch of bass players coming from there. There's Mamadou Ba, who's I
Yeah.
believe playing with Lenny Stern, um,
Oh,
Etienne Mbappe. I mean I might not. I'm gonna I'm gonna get um, hate mail from my Senegalese friends saying like that guy is
Which
not
is
from Cameroon, he's from Senegal. It's like,
oh,
whatever.
don't do it, George. Don't do it.
I'm gonna handle that when when it comes up. Nevertheless, there are a couple bass players who I believe are from Cameroon and who are all like on a different level. There is a different understanding of music and groove,
Yeah.
and and what you can do. There seems to be less limitations or less boundaries, so to speak. And somebody like Richard Bona or Amon Sabaleko sounds exactly like that. You know, there is less limitations before because there's less limitation up here.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
they don't think of it as 1 5 1 5 1 5.
Oh no,
That
I
has
mean,
no,
hmm,
you know, that has no real. That's not, that might be part of it, but it's not the end all be all, right?
yeah.
The interesting thing for them is, okay, well, I'm gonna say something now. Everybody else has said something. I'm gonna say something now. Here's
Hmm,
what I have to say. You know. Anyway, I just wanted to add to that I can totally attest to Amal Sabal Leko taking material and putting his own spin on it, and therefore taking it to another level altogether.
yeah.
And that is a magical thing when it happens. That's really unbelievable. But let's go back to something that you just said a little while earlier, and that was that you like to work with people who have a language and who speak a language when they play. And I think it would be interesting for for the audience to find out what you mean with that.
Um, okay. What do I mean by that? Okay, it's just like if like anybody can go every breath you take,
Right,
every move you make.
right,
But then if I'm gonna sing it, I'm gonna go every breath you take,
right.
every move you make, and that has more personality in
Yeah,
it. And so what I like is when bass players come with their own personality,
right.
and they're not just doing like what a part is.
Yeah, yeah,
If that makes sense.
yeah. No, that
Like
makes
you
a
kind
lot
of
of
said,
sense.
Armand does a little bit of that
Yeah,
where he like he's gonna say, okay, it's my turn to do this a little bit.
right, right.
I like all of that personality,
Yeah,
because it adds, it makes it more unique. It makes a
yeah.
track just like, oh man, Will Lee on Higher. One of my favorite songs by one of my favorite artists,
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, he's not going crazy. He's just doing all this like just every note that he plays is necessary,
yeah,
and it just makes it just groove harder in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah,
And yeah, it's a personality thing.
yeah,
What's your vocabulary when you play?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna be speaking with all the vocabulary and arsenal and tools that I have as a singer. So
Yeah.
I want the same thing from a musician.
That's it. That is a very good point. That is an incredible point. That I think is that I've never heard it that precisely put before. To be honest, it's that makes a lot of sense because in in other when all is said and done, we still have to support the front person,
Mm,
whoever that might be, whether that's a singer or whether it's an instrumentalist, and they basically there's a lot of emphasis and weight on them, right? Because they
yeah.
are the front person. That's just that's the job
But it's only
description.
one bass player though, too. You know what
It's
I mean? It's not
yep,
like it's like three bass players, and
yep,
okay, this guy will do this, and this woman will play this, and this
yeah,
person
yeah,
will do this. It's only one bass player,
yeah, for
and
sure.
I like when the personality and the vocabulary that they use is unique to them.
Yeah,
While I'm doing my thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that is so deep. That is so deep. That helps a lot. There were several instances where I thought, say, when we were working together, we were playing in a band called Poncho, right? Um,
Mhm.
our
Mark
mutual friend Mark
Mark
Jackson put
Jackson.
together, right?
Yeah.
With Gintas Janusonis on drums and
Yanty Gant.
Kent again, exactly. Um, I think Bobby Boxmeyer was playing guitar at the time. Anyway, but I thought what was really interesting was that at the time that was you really had to, at least for me, I really had to bring my A game to that band because the band was very good, right? And you
Yeah,
guys,
Mark
meaning
Mark doesn't write typical stuff either. Like the bass line is gonna be doing its own complete thing.
yeah,
It's
completely.
not gonna be some typical
No,
like,
and you
oh, okay, no, it's this chord and you're just gonna play the root.
no, and you
Nah,
couldn't fake it. You couldn't fake it because
it's
the
not a
minute
jam band.
no, no, not by a long shot. The minute you started messing up some of his bass lines, he would turn around and darts would come out of his eyes, like, and for good reason, because it's his music after all. So this, uh, there is a point to be made that like don't mess up other people's material. It's just not cool. But my point was that um, the playing, the quality of the music, the playing, the material was a very very high level. It was high energy. It was fast. It grooved hard, and then on top of that, you had that the responsibility of singing background to two very strong singers already,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Um, and I was wondering how what was going through your mind in that moment, like are you aware of all the other things that are going on around you? And the reason why I'm asking this is because as a sideman or a side woman, that's very often some a place where our perception of reality or where our attention to detail is sidetracked. Like what should we pay attention to? And since you are someone who hears incredibly well, I was wondering, like, what is your? This it's true. It's true.
Sometimes
No, no, you can totally own that. It is totally true.
it's
Um, I,
subconscious to a lot of people though, and it's gotten me in a lot of trouble, and it's ruined plenty of relationships and friendships
your
because of
flat
me.
nine was too sharp.
So yeah, I guess it's just about as a background singer for
Right.
sure. It's all about the artist.
Okay.
Like you're not trying to be on their level.
Right.
You're just trying to support what they're doing.
Right.
No,
Right.
so a lot of times you either have to hold back
Right.
sometimes depending on who the artist is,
Right.
because that's all that's required is
Right.
they need a tone and a note,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and then some of them want more of your personality,
Yeah.
and so those are great, but you still like have to gauge it according to what the artist is.
Right.
And so it is. I do listen. I do
Yeah.
listen. Like, okay, I'm singing background for a woman from The Voice.
Okay.
She was one of the finalists on. Her name is Katie Caden,
Okay.
and she plays keys and sings. And her band, these are cats that I don't know. They're
Right.
amazing. Like I
Right.
don't know how long they've been together or
Mm.
what. It's fairly young. Like I think most of them are definitely younger than 40.
Mm. Okay.
And they're killing.
Yeah.
I hate that I don't know the bass player's name for that, because it's fun doing that gig.
Yeah.
Because Katie's a real singer, and she
Yeah.
wants you to like give, like bring whatever all that you have.
Yeah.
And like don't hold back because of me, because I'm not gonna hold back.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay, but you still want to hold back a little bit.
Well, of course, you gotta,
You gotta gauge it.
yeah, 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 for sure.
But yeah, I guess I do listen, and just gauge
Yeah,
what needs to happen. I don't know if
yeah,
that
yeah. No,
or not.
that is perfect. That's a great answer because that again, like the analogy is that if that's what you have to do and you are further in front, that's we in the back need to do that just as much, if not even more, because
Mm,
we build the support that you build your support on.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So that's Yeah, I think that's a fantastic description, a fantastic takeaway from just that situation. When I
Let me
did the
ask you a question.
Yeah, yeah,
Let
go
me
for
ask
it.
you a question. Has there ever been like you rehearse with the artists and the bands and all of that? Has there ever been like a performance that was just so special, but it was at the rehearsal?
Oh yeah, oh
You
yeah,
know, it's like we're in a privileged position
yeah,
when we because sometimes magic will happen at the rehearsal and then it doesn't happen at the
yeah.
actual performance. Like that you're saying that yes, that definitely
Oh yeah,
has
yeah.
happened where it's just something special at
I
the
think
rehearsal.
I think that has something to do with expectation and with what you expect to happen and whether that expectation is warranted or correct. I don't know whether it's correct to have the expectation, but um, when you go into the rehearsal situation, chances are that there is an element of surprise. And that element of surprise can be the mind blowing experience that you have during that rehearsal, right? And then you take that and you put that on stage and you go on stage and you have the concert or the studio gig or whatever, and you are sometimes to a large extent and sometimes to a small extent, but you are still expecting that mind blowing experience to happen again.
Interesting. Okay.
And then it doesn't happen
Yeah.
because you were expecting it, right? Or it might be that in reality it does happen, but since you were expecting a certain thing, you were not seeing or not hearing, I should say, the other thing that was really the mind-blowing moment that I've also experienced. Like
Okay.
meaning I'm going into, say I'm rehearsing for a recording session, right? Um and the music is coming together really well, and it's just things are happening during this rehearsal, right? So I go into the recording session and I do exactly the same thing, hoping for or expecting that those things are happening again, right?
Yeah.
And since I'm expecting them, I'm waiting for them to happen, but somehow I'm not hearing them happen or I'm not feeling that they're happening, right?
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks later at playback, when I listen to the recording, I'm like, oh, I was expecting this to happen over here, but like 10 seconds before that, this unbelievable moment just happened, right? Or 20 seconds after that, or 5 seconds after, this other unbelievable moment happened. And since I was expecting this thing from the rehearsal to happen, I didn't catch the other stuff. It still happened, right? But yeah, I think expectation, that's the word. Expectation has a lot to do with it.
Mm.
So yeah, that does happen, and I know that I think it has something to do with being in the moment. That our mutual friend Will Lee is like the master of being in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he. I mean, at least according to his own. I did an interview with him, and that's what
I
he.
saw that one.
Yep.
I was like, George Farmer and Will Lee? Let me see what they talking about.
Exactly.
They ain't talking about shit.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I that's my take on that. I think that's a real phenomenon, and that's yeah, it has something to do with expecting something to happen and therefore not catching or not being open enough to catch whatever is happening because your focus is on expecting something else.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's
I could see that.
Yeah,
I see
there
that.
was there was one thing that I wanted to ask you, because in the live video I tried to make the point, and I don't know whether I got it across. I hope I got it across, but I was trying to make the point that as a bass player, very often the dynamic arc of the music has, like, we as bass players have a lot to do with the dynamic arc of the music, right? When we go loud, everybody goes loud. When we go soft,
Ooh.
everybody goes soft, right? So very often it's together with the drummer, but if need be, sometimes like it's also just us bass players, right? um when playing behind singers, I feel like the dynamic arc is controlled by the singer, him
Most of
or
the time.
her, you know.
Yeah.
And we as accompanist or as side men, side women, have to adapt to that. And I thought, or I tried to make the point that I find that there's a big art form in that, being able to adapt at a moment's notice, right? From one verse to the next chorus, or from one half verse to the next half verse that's a little closer to the chorus, and therefore there's more urgency and more drama, right?
Yeah.
So that dynamic shift is really happening as as you're playing. You really have to be in the moment, and you have to sort of give up the reign of control, right? And I was wondering, can you agree with that as a singer? Like, is that a real thing? And how would that, how does that situation present itself from your point of view?
Um, Let me see. Ask that again. You lost me. You lost me a little bit. I'm
How
sorry.
does the dynamic change during the song, right? If
Yeah.
the singer goes loud, if the singer goes soft, how does that present itself from your point of view, when playing with bass players behind you?
Well, here in Chicago, I've gotten a chance to be a freelance in a bunch of society bands.
Okay,
And they're all various levels.
right,
Very, very high professional musicianship in
yeah,
some, and then not so much in others.
yeah,
And it does affect your singing.
yeah,
Like if something's not grooving,
mm,
you're just trying to get through it.
yeah,
Get through, like, okay, let's get through this, and hopefully hopefully the audience won't think that we suck. uh, because one thing that bugs me sometimes, musicians are good, they've got great musical ideas, but they're too loud, you know
mm. I
uh,
remember you saying that, yeah, yeah,
and if and that pisses me off. That
mm,
angers me. Like, it's like, okay, can you tell? Like, are you even trying to hear what's
mm,
happening? Or are you just so wrapped up in your own thing?
yeah.
And doing a part, and that's a drag to sing with,
Well,
because
that answers the question right there. That
if it's too
really,
loud, then I have no place to go. We're already hitting the headroom. You
yeah,
can only go this far, and if it's starting here, then you just got this little bit, and that's it.
yeah,
So start way below that, so
yeah,
that we have some place to go.
yeah,
And I can't stand that. That makes me, I guess I give looks when something's not pleasing, because I've been told that a lot, and particularly now that I'm teaching at college and stuff.
right, right,
If somebody's playing something wrong, I'll just like look like, oh, what the hell was that? I mean, I don't say that, but I would look like something was wrong right there, and I might say it later. But yeah, you have to. Uh, the dynamics are great.
yeah,
They're fantastic, but you
yeah,
have to start somewhere small, or
right,
smaller. You can't
yeah,
start big, because then it's just going to be this the whole time, and
right,
this is boring,
right,
in my
right.
opinion. It's
Where
like,
there's no
okay,
peaks, no valleys, no,
if it's all just you
right,
know
right.
or if it's all if it's soft,
That's a very good
it's
point. That's a
it's
very good
still
point.
like, okay,
Yeah,
it's flatline.
yeah, yeah.
And I
So in
know,
other words, follow the singer. Like,
yes,
definitely follow the singer, and find the range of dynamics where they put it.
yep, yep.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I got a shout out to, there's some great Chicago bassists as
Go
well.
for it. Go for it.
There's downtown Tony Brown. That's been his nickname for years. He's been one of the top
Yeah.
call bassists here,
Mm,
particularly on R&B and soul stuff. Like, he's just like one of the real cats, and I wish I knew what his discography was,
mm,
but he's played on stuff, that's legendary, that's come out of Chicago.
yeah.
And then there's also Paul Martin,
I'll check that
a
out.
guy
Okay.
who's obsessed with Steely Dan.
Wow.
like he's obsessed, and in fact, he has Steely Dan tribute band,
Mm,
where he's personally wrote out and transcribed all the charts and everything. Like the dude is sick, like
incredible, incredible.
so I just want to shout out to
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Downtown Tony
Downtown
Brown,
Tony Brown and Paul Martin.
Paul
You know,
Martin. Okay, everyone who's watching this, everybody who's listening to this or watching this, definitely check those gentlemen out because they are
yeah,
worthwhile. And also check out the other people that we just mentioned. I mean, be it Armand Sabaleko or
I
will
like how you
we?
say Sabaleko.
I think
Because
that's his name. I'm not 100%.
we used to say, I mean, we could have been butchering it when we worked with him. Sabaleko.
Sabaleko. Well, there you go. But
Sabaleko. Yeah, yeah.
that seems a lot better.
But I'll butcher up a name in a minute.
The
So, but I mean, maybe he's polite and just said it's Sabaleko or something. I don't know.
the bass player.
The bass player from Cameroon.
Yes, one of them.
Yeah.
But also like check out Cherry Barnes. Check out the late great Catrice Barnes. I mean,
Yeah.
she was a monster player, monster writer, um, an
Every
incredible
time I see
musician.
her, the artist
Hmm. Oh,
um,
her.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think of Catrice.
Check
Like,
that out.
Catrice was like one. I mean, it's hard being a woman in the business,
Oh yeah,
because it's a sexist business, and
yeah,
I tell the students that, the female students that as well. Like,
yeah,
some sexist stuff going on. Sometimes it's really obvious. Sometimes it's passive aggressive.
yeah,
But be prepared for it.
yeah,
And Catrice, rest her soul, had to deal with a lot of that. You
yeah,
know, and yeah, just really one of the most talented persons I ever got to hang with and make music with and joke around with and drink with and
yeah. No,
everything.
she was a force of nature. There's no,
Yeah,
again, like somebody, and this is maybe somewhat concluding our conversation a little bit because at the beginning I said that it really impressed me that when we were listening to music, I think we were up at your place, um, listening to music, and you heard all those different tracks on the same song, and yeah, the vocals, the background vocals, here they are doubled, here they are doubled, here they're tripled, like you were able to point all of that out, and it made me up my game in a major way, this, and I feel like Catrice was one of those people who upped everybody's game because
just
her work ethic and her output period was
yeah,
just
just nuts.
beyond. I mean, this is someone who could hang with Hiram Bullock.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right,
In fact, she was in a band with Will and Hiram
exactly.
for a while.
Yeah.
Like just hanging, and she well, got offered to play with Prince
Oh
in his
damn, I
band
didn't
as
know that.
well. Yeah,
Oh,
she made her own choices and was like, no, I think I want to do this.
right,
And
right.
yeah, just an extraordinary human being, talent, and if you hang out with talented people, the idea is that maybe just a tiny little bit of it'll rub off. That's why I try and gravitate to the people that can really sing or that can really play, because it's like, okay, maybe I'll get Mark Jackson, perfect
Yeah,
example. We went to college together, and
yeah,
that dude had ears.
yeah,
He's alive.
yeah, yeah.
Has ears that made me go, oh wow, he's listening to all that. I was just listening to the singer.
Mm.
And so that made me, maybe the same way, when we were hanging out. That
Yeah,
made
yeah,
out with Mark in college
yeah.
was the thing for me. Like, oh, I need to start listening to everything.
Right.
And I tell my students now, try and do everything, listen to everything,
Yeah,
and at least have kind of a little grasp of knowledge of a little bit of everything.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It'll just make you a better musician.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, otherwise you won't know what to do when you are in a situation where somebody puts some original music in front of them and say, "Listen, I want some, insert any instrument,
Yeah,
guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, whatever. I want some of that in this song, but I don't know what. I'm not a guitar, bass, keyboard, drummer, whatever. So
yeah,
just play whatever you hear, right? You need to have something in your back pocket to say something.
Yep.
And that's so that again brings us to what you said at the beginning, like versatility. That was
Hey,
the first thing that you said, like that's what you listen for.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
It's like the more versatile you are, if you're good at being versatile, then you'll just get more work.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
in New York particularly, it's like that when I first moved to New York, like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be a session singer and yada yada yada. But then I'm black, I got a certain sound.
mm,
Hopefully nobody else will have that. And then you see people like Dennis and Curtis, Dennis Collins and Curtis King
yes,
and other people, and it's like, oh, there's several guys that do what I do. So
mm,
so how do I set myself apart from that?
right,
If anything, trying to be more versatile.
yeah,
Like, let me change my sound and be more pop,
right,
because the soul thing is covered by everybody.
right, right,
Or let me try and be more rockish, and put a little bit more rasp on my voice to
yeah,
set that aside. Because this I'm D Train, by the way.
right,
That's another name. I love D Train. Yeah. Uh, it's just about being versatile, and it will get you more work.
yeah, of
And
course.
and I always say I'm a music hoe. If it's paying, hey, I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah, no, there's no shame in that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I always liken it to, or I always kind of compare it to, who are we to say no? Like this is our life, right?
Yeah,
And if you love it, you will find that one thing that lets you that you can zero in whatever the situation might be, whatever the gig might be, whatever the music style or
yeah,
genre. Forget about all that. Like
yeah.
you will find the one thing that makes it worthwhile to play, in my case to play the bass, right, in your
Right.
case to sing. You will find that one thing for sure, but
Like
you need
Spring Awakening is so different than
mm,
Memphis,
oh
or
yeah,
and Memphis is so different than Too Proud. Ain't
oh
Too
yeah, ain't
you
too
know
proud, yeah,
and Ain't Too Proud is completely different than playing with Norm Lewis.
Norm Lewis or
Like
Audra
all the things.
McDonald. I mean, it's this,
Or Drum Down, like you gotta be versatile.
yeah.
And luckily you speak a lot of different languages where people go, you know what, that's the dude we gotta call. So that's a
Fingers crossed.
yeah.
Well,
Oh
anyway,
man,
listen, Mike Harvey, we could sit forever and just keep continuing like this, but I think we've
man.
talked the ear of the audience. I wanna thank you again for making yourself available today. This means the world to me. I think this means the world to the audience as well. There's some really good information here, and I hope that people can, sort of feel inspired about this. I can only share what I know. I can only share what makes me tick, and playing behind singers as good as you are, is that's it for me, right? That is my goal, so to speak. So once again, Mike Harvey, thank you so much for being here
Thanks
today.
for having me, man. This is so cool. This is so cool. We got to, like once I figure out the whole school thing, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go and take a trip to New York, and
Oh hell
we
yeah.
gotta hang.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We're not going anywhere. We're right here. So anytime is fine with us.
Cool,
All
cool.
right, Mike Harvey, thank you so much.
Woohoo! Peace out.
Later.